Once again, I'm asking myself, why is this so hard to comprehend? Hey people, welcome back or to another video. For those of you who are new around here, a really warm welcome to you guys. I'm super grateful to have you come and join us. So I've been taking about 10-15 minutes just setting up this camera because the way the sun is shining on into the room, it's just like going everywhere. So apologies about that, but I'm not about to moan about the sun when we've been living in darkness for the past 6 months. If you have not already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a massive thumbs up. It really helps push this content out for those people who are truly looking for their child-free community. As time goes on, I'm finding more and more of these articles out there in the wild. So I thought I would break down all the logical reasons as to why there are people out here not having kids. So in these articles, they always talk about how the birth rate is declining and how, you know, women are having less kids and women are delaying motherhood and women this and women that. And like usual, you know, it's all our fault and we all get pregnant by, by ourselves and there aren't any men involved. I'm just gonna have to do a mini rant about this because I thought it was pretty clear and pretty obvious as to why there are less and less of us actually having kids now. And I'm gonna say us because I think it's actually men as well. But like usual, it's always the women who are highlighted in media. So I found this article about how there's a big baby bust going on. Now, I've done a video like this previously, like last year, and it was about the declining birth rate in Hong Kong and across Asia. This is more about the United Kingdom. Do you think I'm gonna look at this graph here and be like, oh no, shit, I better get on with it. Oh my God. Do you think my ovaries have jumped in fear from looking at this graph? Like, what are you gaining from these articles? What the fuck is it? Like, are you trying to encourage people to have kids? Are you trying to scare people into having more kids? Like, what is the general reason we're constantly talking of a declining birth rate and an economy that's crashing and has actually crashed before anyway, and more than likely will be happening again? And of course, it all comes down to big bad women. It's always our fault. Cut a long story short, just in case it wasn't obvious enough to start with, most millennials and Gen Zs aren't having kids because they simply can't afford it. I thought that much was pretty obvious, but what happens is when we say that, is we usually get backlash from older generations. I'm not gonna specify who, but you can have a little guess, is that they turn around and say, oh, you guys have it easy. We had it so hard. We had to live off one wage. We ended up having 3-4 kids. We managed. And I'm like, that's great, Judy. I'm really glad that you managed and you scraped every last penny together to feed your 5 fucking kids. But like, times have changed. You need to get with the program right now. Economies have changed. The job market has changed. Technology has changed. You need to get yourself into the 21st century and into 2024 and understand that there's absolutely no comparison between how life was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s to how life is now moving forward. So first and foremost, we have literally like adults still living at home with their parents because they cannot even afford rent. That is not even them getting on the property ladder yet. So before they've even had a chance, even a fighting chance to try and save some money for a deposit on a house, they're still living at home with parents because a lot of the time they simply cannot afford rent. So how is it that you are expecting us to then bring children into the world? So how is it that you're going to turn around and be like, oh, less women are having kids because they're focusing on their careers? No, I don't think it's because they're focusing on their careers. I think it's because we simply can't fucking afford it. It is too fucking expensive. Have you actually seen the price of childcare? Let's wind it back a bit. I'm gonna start off with how corrupt the school systems are here in the UK. Let me know what it is like wherever you are joining from. I'd love to know how the school systems work in your countries. Here in the UK, they're a fucking scam. They're a sham. End of discussion. Because you are forced into education until you're a minimum of 18, whereas back in the day, where the older generations are like laughing at us, back in the day, they could leave school at 16 and go start a trade and then just start working, which was great. I would have loved that if I had had that option. Of course, I would have gone into a trade. It's fucking smarter. I would have definitely have done that. I'm so glad that when I did leave school, I went straight into work and I focused on getting experience and I didn't go down the university scam. You're telling me I have to stay in school until I'm 18, and then when I leave school at 18, I have to go into debt in order to become so-called successful. Because when I left school, I chose not to go to university and I was told I was gonna flip burgers for the rest of my life. This was the fear that we were fed. We were fed the whole, if you don't go to university, you're an absolute failure, you're never gonna get a job, no one's gonna hire you, you're gonna work in McDonald's or KFC, all of this shit. This is what we were fed. So we then go to university, we get into debt because have you seen the university fees here? They are disgusting. And this is to encourage people to have higher education. And this is no guarantee that you're actually going to get a job at the end of it. Absolutely no guarantee that you're going to get a job first and foremost. No guarantee you're going to get a job in your chosen field. You can already see all the strikes that are going on. So in the UK, we've had a lot of strikes across the, medical field. So a lot of junior doctors, a lot of nurses, all going on strike because of pay cuts. This is people who have spent their early years from like 18 to 25 in medical school, paying for medical school, and they're not even getting a fair wage. This is absolutely disgusting. And then we get articles like this telling us that, they're shunning parenthood. Oh my God, I couldn't fucking possibly think why. It doesn't finish there. So to add on to the pressures that are already on youngsters to go and perform well in university, and if they don't go to university, they're an absolute failure, is that they then get, are you still living at home with parents? Oh my God, but can you not find a job? But I thought you had a degree. Why don't you go and get a master's? Because I've heard this as well. It's like, I can't find a job now that I've got a degree. Let me go and get myself into more debt and get a master's degree. Which, by the way, I'd like to add something in to make it clear. If that's something you need for your required career path, by all means, go and get it. If you need that because you're either in the medical field or the legal field, or you want to be a lawyer or something along these lines, I understand that it's needed in those professions. So we want you to pay more money and be in even more debt so that when you start your professional life, you haven't got a fucking pot to piss in. Like, tell me how this is inspiring me to have kids and to build a home and to build a life. And then you're wondering why you have a declining birth rate. Really? Have a little think about that one. Come on now. Now, this is just a very common trap that a lot of millennials have fallen into and are living right now. And the same goes for a lot of Gen Z as well. And a lot of the time, older generations seem to always think that we're really entitled or that we're spending all our money on avocado and coffees. And that is why we don't actually have any money. But the truth is, we're simply living in much different times. All generations have had their own struggles and their own adversities that they've had to overcome. And I do believe that millennials have had a lot to overcome. We've actually lived through 2 recessions, one of them being current. So articles need to focus more on the genuine challenges that we face instead of just blaming it on women being selfish or going on luxurious trips or focusing on their luxurious careers and shunning men and shunning marriage and all of this fucking shit, because we're always painted as being these big bad wolves, as opposed to like, no, actually, let's face what's going on in this economy right now and see that the genuine issues that we have to face, and the fact that so many youngsters are already in debt before they've even had a chance to live a decent lifestyle, and forget moving away from home and living somewhere where they're paying rent. They don't even have a chance to get on the property ladder and actually have assets. And it really, really doesn't help when older generations just say to us, but we managed. Look what we did. We managed and we were only earning X amount or Y amount. We only had 1 wage coming in. Life is really different. Let's stop fucking comparing, because I could go to town with this, but this video would be 5 years long and I'm not gonna do that. We are now living in an economy where you need 9 times out of 10, minimum 2 wages coming in. Whether that couple has kids or not, you're looking at a minimum of 2 wages to cover the mortgage or rent, to cover bills, to cover expenses, and to cover food. does not help with articles that come up saying, oh, it's because you're being selfish, it's because you're focusing on your career, it's because you're focusing on bettering yourself. No, it's because most of the time people are just focused on trying to keep a fucking roof above their head and food in their belly. So let's bring a baby into this equation right now. That's an extra mouth to feed, more clothes, more bills. And let's not forget childcare fees, because let me tell you, the way I had to pick up my mouth from the literal floor when I heard what some people pay for childcare per month, I was like, you might as well just buy yourself another property with that money. That money you could have saved, you could have bought yourself another house. Like, what the fuck are childcare fees right about now? You want me to have a child, but I also need to work, because remember, we need a minimum of 2 wages coming in. And then you want me to have a kid, leave the kid with childcare, which I have to pay for. Sorry, that sounds like a massive hamster wheel. That sounds like a train on a track where you're moving the track as the train is going along. And you're moving the track so that the train doesn't come off the track. Literally, that's the image I have in my head of like this constant hamster wheel of I need to work in order to have enough money to cover my rent, bills, etc. And then to cover childcare. And then when my child's grown up, I have to, you know, pay for uniforms, pay for school dinners. Then when they go to university, I have to pay a minimum of 50k for them to get a piece of fucking paper. Once again, I'm asking myself, why is this so hard to comprehend? Much of my generation and people I went to school with have like 3-4 kids each, and they are more than likely either still paying off their student debt or they've just finished paying off their student debt. And if I think of how much I've been through in the past years since I left school, and to think that all those years I'll be paying off debt each and every month, fuck that shit. Why the fuck do youngsters have to live their whole entire, you know, they have to live their golden years, like their best years of their lives, paying off debt? What the fuck is this? They're paying off debt and then they're told to rent, then they're told to buy, then they're told to have kids. Oh, but the birth rate's declining, so you need to do your bit for society. And it's like, yeah, but I'm still paying off debt. Yeah, but you're not doing your bit. And it's just coming from all angles. This is why so many younger generations are really struggling, probably with their mental health, because we're having it chucked at us from all angles. Like, no, this is the way to do it. No, but you got to do this, but you got to do that. Oh, but you're not quite doing it right. But you're not helping others, and you're not putting everyone else first. You're not thinking about your parents being grandparents. And it's just like, shut the fuck up. Like, anything else you want to add to this absolute fucking shit show that is the 21st fucking century. So if you live at home with your parents, it's like, why do you still live at home when you're an adult and you've got a job, or you're trying to look for a job, or whatever the excuse is? It's like, why are you still living at home with your parents? You're X years old. And then you move out to rent and people are like, why are you renting for? Why don't you buy a house? You're just making somebody else rich. You're just paying off somebody else's mortgage. And then when they buy a house, they're like, right, well, why aren't you getting married first? You're meant to get married before you buy a house. And then you get married, or you don't get married and then you have the kid first. They're like, why didn't you get married first? You're meant to get married first before you have a kid. And it's just constant. Have you noticed how you cannot get anything right? This is why I am all about on this channel, living life exactly how you see fit. If you want to go live in a fucking shack in the middle of the forest, please do so. If you want to go live on Mars, I'm pretty sure it's going to be possible in a couple of years. So rain check on that one. But if you want to go and live with all your besties in a mansion with 10 million dogs, go fucking do it. Because guess what? People are going to talk about you anyway. I'm pretty sure the Daily Mail are going to write an article about you living on Mars with your 10 dogs or your 5 birds or whatever it is that you want to live with. And they're going to have an article about how you're so selfish that you left Earth and you went to live on Mars. Because I'm pretty sure that whatever the fuck it is that we do these days, it's wrong. We're entitled. We're this, we're that. You cannot get anything right. So the only way to live properly, to actually be happy, is to just live life on your terms. So if you haven't already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a massive thumbs up, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.